Everyone. Jorhena Thomas here with Girl Security, and today I am very happy to be in conversation with Janet Nalls, who is one of our most fabulous mentors in our program. Hi, Janet. How are you?
Hi, Jorhena. I am doing just fantastic.
I'm really excited to speak with you today about this very interesting topic of intellectual curiosity. So, we are going to get started and jump right in. I have a few questions for you. So the first is, what does it even mean to be intellectually curious, Janet?
Well, intellectual curiosity seems like a big definition, but it's really not. It's the desire to learn, understand, explore new ideas, knowledge, and experiences. It's what you would call being an adventurer in intellect. Um, some of the traits that go along with that are asking questions, problem solving, being committed to being a lifelong learner. Things that we see on the interwebs these days where folks will ask a question under a caption that already has the information that you need to go and be curious about what that could mean for you. So it's doing your Googles, but doing it effectively and with meaning and on purpose.
Yes. So why would someone want to be this way, particularly when we're thinking about our work life?
In terms of work, it is highly impactful to be intellectually curious. When we talk about curiosity, it's not just I'm going to do the A, B's, and C's of my job requirements. It's how do I step outside the bounds of that and look at A? Is there a problem with A? Is there a way I can make A better? For example, if I'm the project manager, I'm the associate assigned with a task, it's not just doing the task given, it's expanding on the task. It's not following that linear route. It's going up and down to figure out what is the most complete way to accomplish this task. Is there a problem involved with it? Am I asking the right questions to make sure I'm clarifying what's exactly being asked of me? If I don't know how to do the task, am I committed to learning how to do the task? Am I up for Coursera? Am I up for YouTube University? Am I up for doing my Googles to make sure I can get a good understanding of it? There are so many facets to how this can be impactful for anyone from a beginner employee working at Chick-fil-A to a beginner employee working in an office setting. It's applicable for every single person.
Oh, yes. I love that, Janet. So several months ago, you and I had a conversation about leaving a legacy of intellectual curiosity wherever you go. And I loved that conversation, and I'm so glad we get to capture a little bit of it here in this video. So can you talk to us a little bit about leaving a legacy of intellectual curiosity and how someone might start that off in a job or in school or whatever the case may be?
I have been very fortunate enough to have had great mentors to lead me down this path to figuring out who I want to be in the workplace and how I want to leave that position better than when I found it. So when I start, like my first 90 days of get up and go, it's doing a lot of deep listening. So I listen more than I talk because I don't know what they want from me. I have a basic idea based on the job description, but in reality, I'm bringing all of my Janetness to the job. So they hired me for a reason. So my job is to listen to my coworkers, listen to the stakeholders and bosses who are in charge, listen to the customers. What do they need? What do they want in the future? Understand what our current challenges are. Are there any opportunities for me to jump right in and make a difference based upon any skills that I'm bringing to the forefront, AKA artificial intelligence, machine learning, being a better Googler that may not be on the forefront within the office that I'm working in or within the job that I'm working in. It's focusing on learning. It's not just learning how to do the job, but are there facets of the job where I'm gapped for intelligence? So they might need an Excel guru. I don't know Excel, but I can hop on YouTube University and figure out Excel. Project management software. I don't know project management software, but I know I can go on LinkedIn Learning and maybe do some searching and figure out via 8-minute course how to make that happen for me. It's keeping track of your wins, keeping track of the tasks that you're actually doing. Earlier today, I was explaining how I'm an over-preparer, and that has suited me well and not so well throughout my career. Sometimes it can lead to paralysis of making a decision. So I'll think so much of something that I won't make a decision to go, or I'll prepare so much that I miss the opportunity for action. This can be in any single job. So it's keeping track of your progress, keeping track of your challenges. If you're asking the right questions, as you should be, it's making sure you're providing or you're keeping track of the responses to those questions, so that when you present your information or you're tasked with providing information to someone else, you know exactly what's being asked of you because you have that question handy. And this can be in the form of like a journal, I prefer paper, or you can use OneNote or anything that's available to you through all these softwares like Jira and things that are available to you, OneNote online for you to keep track of your stuff. An important thing for me and for folks coming up is to define what's missing. Now, nothing can be missing. You may just be doing the task A, B, and C. I'm doing these things. I'm doing these things in excellence, but I'm missing something. Something's missing that will make my life easier, or something's missing that will make this actual task more effective. It's finding what that is and saying, I can make this better. It's solutioning it. So figuring out what to do, that goes back to problem solving. It's learning how to do more and learning how to teach someone else how to do it. That's probably also very important. And it's communicating with the right people throughout all of this process. So as you're listening and learning, you're communicating what you've learned to your coworkers and your bosses. As you're learning more and more about the position and how to do things better, it's communicating what you've actually learned through your job tasks. As you're keeping track of what you're doing, your challenges and your questions, it's communicating those efforts back to your chain of command. As you're defining what's missing, it's communicating what it is that you're doing to make things better. One, not so that you can just get credit, but that you're invested in the organization to make it the best that it can be.
Yes, gems of knowledge, gems of wisdom, Janet. So my last question for you then, taking all that in about how you start and how you perform as you're being intellectually curious and thinking about leaving a legacy, how do you finish up? If you're finishing a position and you're moving to a new position, for example, how do you leave that legacy there? What are some things that you do before you move on?
I think everyone gets to the point at one time or another in a position where you're ready for more, or you're ready to be done with that current job. And once you've made that decision, for me, I prefer to leave a position better than when I found it. So if I'm capturing all those things that I've made better, I'm capturing all those things that I have decided that we're going to do this instead of this. It's documenting everything that I've done. One, for resume purposes, people love quantifiable results. I did 10 out of 10, yada, yada, yada. Not just that, but I improved the process. I made things better so that the next person behind me will hopefully build upon those bits of excellence. So it's documenting your accomplishments, capture your wins the best way you know how, and keep those with you at all times. It's defining future areas for growth. So for the next person, these are the things that I thought would be great. I just didn't have the time to do them. Leaving little notes so that they can come in and maybe hit the ground running with some things that you didn't have the capacity to accomplish. It might give them a good head start for making positive changes in the organization, and you know that it's something that will be beneficial. And so your loyalty is still to improving a process. It's as far as setting up the next person for success, it's ensuring a smooth handover. If there is time for some transitional on-the-job training with the next person, it's making sure you do that properly. It's providing the correct documentation. Here's so-and-so and who's he what's so you can get things done. It's making a schedule for training if your time allows. It's being supportive of the next person in that role so that they can continue to be excellent in what it is that job position requires. And it's doing it in an organized way. So We don't like chaos around here. We prefer things to go off in an organized manner. One, because it gives you a peace of mind about where you stand and what you've accomplished, and you don't want to end that in a chaotic way. That's not to say that layoffs or transitions that happen because of contract changes or because of just shifts in what happens in your organization won't upend a peaceful transition or an organized transition or exit from the job. But there are ways to make it organized, even in a short time span, so that you can ensure your documentation is in place. You can communicate what it is that you are working on currently, what it is that you haven't touched, and make sure that you know that your senior leadership knows that you've trained the person to the best of your ability, given the time allotted. And then piecing out with kindness.
Piecing out with kindness. Yes. So Janet, I think the things you've shared with us about intellectual curiosity and how to leave a legacy of intellectual curiosity are relevant no matter if you are still in school or if you're starting out your career or if you're in the middle of your career or toward the end of your career. I think all of these ideas are valuable and adaptable no matter where we are. So thank you for sharing this with us. I know you are a fount of wisdom and richness. So thank you all for listening to this video, and I want you to know there is a one-page document that's going to go along with the video for you to check out. There's more wisdom from Janet there. And again, thank you so much for being with us today, Janet.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.